Hello and welcome back to 365 Days with mxmtoon. I'm Maia, a singer, songwriter, video maker, Oakland native, and a big super fan. I'm also a huge fan of history. I love untold stories, gross facts, hidden secrets, anything weird, dark, and funky from the past. Each day I'm going to share one of my favorite deep cuts with you, so let's take a look at today's stories.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's 365 mxmtoon.
Today in 2020 began the invasion of Brood 9, a crop of periodical cicadas that emerged primarily in Virginia, West Virginia, and North Carolina. Cicadas burrow underground for periods of 13 to 17 years, emerging only then to mate and, well, die. They're pretty interesting insects, and this year, they're all the more relevant. In 2021, we're getting Brood 10, whose above-ground revisit is expected to cover a massive swath of land in the northeastern United States. More on that in a sec. Let's talk a little bit about periodical cicadas. They live on the eastern side of the United States, so a California native like myself might not be super familiar with them, but if you've spent a lot of time in the East Coast, you may have had a couple of cicada summers. As I said earlier, they mostly live underground, emerging in 13 or 17-year cycles. They've been mistakenly referred to as locusts, though locusts are actually a form of grasshopper, and cicadas are their own thing. Scientifically, they're referred to as true bugs, and they look like it. They have big red eyes, massive translucent wings, and decidedly a bug-like black dorsal thorax, which is basically a bug's torso. There are different kinds of cicadas. Not all of them live underground for such long stretches. Some come up annually, really every 2 to 5 years, but they don't all come up at once, so it seems like they're hanging out all the time. They're particularly recognizable not just because they're pretty large, and if you don't know what you're looking at, a little scary. They're also recognizable because of their distinct sound. Males make the sound to attract mates. They have a special organ in their torso called a timbal. The timbals are made up of little ribs that click when a cicada flexes its muscles, and the clicking adds up to a loud buzzing sound. When there are millions of cicadas sitting in trees singing their little sexy mating song, well, it can be pretty noisy. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what cicadas do when they emerge. And keep in mind, this involves some adult, bug behavior. When cicadas are underground, they're nymphs, or baby bugs. They spend their time feeding off the nutrients in the soil and getting big and strong. Once they reach their full strength and they're ready to make new baby cicadas, they emerge. In the case of Brood 9, that happens every 17 years. Cicadas are summer creatures, and they come up for about a month or so in late May and early June. Once they emerge from the ground, they get ready for a hot and heavy mating season. Basically, they have our equivalent of a hot vac summer. They fly around, they flirt with each other, and the mates flirt by doing that aforementioned tree buzzing, and interested females respond by flicking their wings. While they're up there doing it, they're also nice enough to prune the tree branches for us. Once the mating begins, things get a little messy though. Males die immediately after they mate with their females. They'll fall from the trees and litter the ground and sidewalks, which can be a little gross, but ultimately replenishes soil with nutrients. While the males lay on the ground dying, the females get to work. They lay a couple dozen tiny eggs in tree twigs. Once the egg laying is done, the females join their mates in the big bug heaven in the sky. It is as dark an orgy as it is a joyful one. After 6 to 10 weeks, the eggs hatch, and the little baby cicadas immediately fall to the ground and burrow into the earth. There, they spend 17 blissful years hanging out, whereupon they emerge, and the sex-death cycle continues. Now for some fun facts about 17-year cicadas. Cicadas feed a lot of predators. Animals ranging from birds to fish to squirrels to dogs love cicadas and will feast on them. Some predators will even change their eating patterns to accommodate larger broods. People can eat cicadas too. If you're using a lawnmower or a power tool outside during a cicada emergence, you might attract some lusty bugs who mistake the burring noise for a cicada song. Cicadas also pee. It is possible that you'll catch some of that pee if you're walking under a tree in cicada season. I promise you, it won't hurt you though. And according to Greek mythology, cicadas were once humans. When the first muses emerged, cicadas were so enchanted by them, they sang and danced for them endlessly. So much so that they forgot to eat or drink and died. The muses brought them back as cicadas, allowing them to sing from birth to death. Cicadas are making a huge comeback in a big way. Brood 10 is in the process of emerging now, making up a huge stretch along the eastern seaboard. If you're here, keep an ear out for their telltale buzzing and maybe don't walk under any trees. Now let's talk about music. Today in 1997, the Spice Girls' album Spice hit #1 in the US. It was the first time a British act had reached #1 in the United States on a debut album. Spice, which dropped in September 1996, was a huge hit and started a massive, if brief, phenomenon that at the time was comparable to Beatlemania in the 1960s. The lead single, Wannabe, became one of the biggest singles of all time, and hits like Say You'll Be There and Two Become One topped charts as well. Their second album, Spice World, was also a huge hit and had an accompanying film. Jerry Halliwell left the group in 1998, and the Spice Girls went on hiatus shortly after, but they continue to live on at dance parties across the globe. And now for our final segment of today's show, I'll be going back into my own photo archives to see what I was up to on May 24th in my life. So it looks like on May 24th, 2019, as I've mentioned in previous episodes, I was working on The Masquerade at this point in Brooklyn and working with Robbie, aka Cave Town specifically, and we had a day off on the 24th of May in 2019. I wore a Shrek shirt that had donkey written on it in the front. I'm pretty sure I found it at a thrift store for $2 whole, and we ended up going to get walk-in tattoos. I got a persimmon on my arm. There's a whole vlog of this day, by the way, on Robbie's YouTube somewhere out there. We went to get walk-in tattoos. Robbie got a green onion. I got a persimmon. And then we went to a cat cafe where we proceeded to hang out with cats because we both love them and we're really homesick and missing our own pets. And I am still, 2 years later, at home missing my own pets. But yeah, that's okay. Thanks for going back in time with me, and remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You can come back tomorrow for more stories from the past.
It's 365 with mxmtoon. New facts every day, so don't leave too soon. I'm gonna teach you stuff, no it won't be tough. Gonna go a year till you've had enough. It's 365